Thank you. Thank you very much. I am so happy to be here. And particularly happy to have this focus of world peace because it is the focus of my life as well. And so before I launch in, I want to just plant a little seed with you that this Friday at 11 o'clock on Facebook, at a site called New Thought Media Network, I will be doing a half-hour program, which is a preview of a program that is going to start in October, every Friday at noon. And it's also a celebration of 19 years of New Thought, metaphysics, unity consciousness, and me being in Ukraine. So September 11th, 2001, 19 years ago, I landed and my life transformed. And the thing that really held me the whole time and transformed me into a growing place of peace is the awareness that I believed that peace was not only a right and a possibility. On September 11th, I learned for myself that peace is a principle. It's a reality, just like all other principles. It is a principle that must be chosen like all other principles. Cast out of the garden, we must choose to return. We must learn through all of the knowledge-based programs we entertain ourselves with and use to lead us. So I understood on my very first day, 19 years ago, as I had radio and television interviews that I wasn't prepared for, that the one thing I knew for sure was that peace is. And we do not need to make enemies to disturb it. We do not need to look for reasons to feel contrary to disturb the peace that we have. We do not, nor should we not ever look for blame or feel belittled and separate ourselves in any way that disturbs the peace that lives within us. So peace is a principle. Peace is a choice. We have to practice it, as the fifth principle of unity says. We have to live it for it to be alive. Faith without works is dead. What good is lots of knowing? It's just flapping your lips if you don't live it. I'm not lecturing because I'm a master. I hope I'm not lecturing at all. I hope that what I'm doing today is just sharing what I have been fortunate enough through trial and error and faltering and rising again, that peace is, and we can have it. And when we choose it, it goes before us and makes the way smoother for us. It opens the path to all the things that we want. We cannot have more than we are. That is the law of life. It is done as you believe. We can't have more than we believe. And so someone said, with all of your understanding or something, there was some wonderful quote about, you better get busy understanding this. With all of your knowing, let's get busy understanding how it works. And that's kind of pushes me forward all the time. I made my famous mind map, and I haven't forgotten that we talked about doing a workshop about how to do this, but here's mine for today. And we're going to use the principles as our foundation. These are the 5 unity principles to explore what our purpose is and to see how the land of possibility, the land of living our purpose, is sometimes a circuitous route. And we need to release what no longer serves us, and we need to embrace what brings us into that consciousness. It's simple. It's a simple formula. There is a principle. Unity is probably the biggest and the most basic of them all. For me, I cannot grasp the consciousness of unity when my brain is full of fear, when my brain is full of yes buts. I can't get to the surrender to just accept it anyway unless I find a way to make peace with myself and the things I do and do not understand. And unless I can make peace with myself and allow myself to just go, like somewhere it says in the Bible, which I'm no scholar of, all things work together for good. Somewhere in Romans it says that. So our affirmations are like spading the garden of our mind. Our affirmations are what breaks up the hard pan of our thinking. Our affirmations are truth principles as we steep ourselves in them, as we say them, as we read them, as we sing them. If we open the mind to the fact that those affirmations, those truths, change us, as the unity principles say. In principle number 4, the power of affirmative prayer. We believe that it transforms us by deepening our awareness to what we're saying is God. Whatever word you use, it matters not. But as we use these words and as we contemplate these huge principles, we get closer to it. My dad used to say, his way of saying that was birds of a feather flock together. So one of the things we must do is manage our mind, manage our focus, manage what we're doing with the power of our thoughts. So today, in the next 20 minutes maybe, I want to walk through those 5 principles and show how they are put to use, because the first 2 principles really are stating that, there is one source, there is one life, there is one reality. By whatever name you call it and however you come to understand it, there is one. And that is the source of all things. And in that is axiomatic that all things are possible, because that one source is in us, because it couldn't be in all and not in me. And it doesn't decide. It's, the rain falls on the just and unjust. Anyone can use the law. Pretty evident today's world to see how that works. You tell what's true for you long enough and it becomes believed. How are we using that law? What are we saying out loud? What truth are we telling? The second principle, we are all spiritual beings. We're created in the image and likeness of this infinite reality. Call it God, Christ, consciousness. We are created in that reality. We are born from it, using only it. So what else could we be? There's nothing else we could be. There's no other ingredients than its original, never-ending awareness. So of course, when we create affirmations and poems and songs and books and stories, we're using it, we're reflecting it to the best level of our ability to comprehend it. We're always doing it. The creative process isn't something I'm going to choose to do between 10 and 12 on Sundays. The creative process is what I'm doing every second of every day, from the time my eyes wake up in the morning till they go to sleep at night. I'm always using it. I am always made in the image and likeness of the infinite. What is our purpose? You know, people have asked this forever. I think our purpose is to duplicate that original nature. We've had master teachers teaching us that. That is what Christ said. You know, these things I can do, you can do better. I'm just an example. It flows through us. And we experience it to the level of our belief. The third is we create our own experience by how we use our thoughts. And I would add how we speak, what we write about, what we see, how we feel. I'm reading Ty's book right now. This red book. It's a great book. He loves words the way I love words. And I started this funny little practice of, beside some of the paragraphs, I'm writing what the principle or the practice is. It's sort of like a textbook. I mean, that's how I study for class, you know? And I found myself doing that with Ty's book. There are things that guide us, and they're everywhere. You just have to see them. When you notice how much fun you have learning, then notice, what are you learning? Where are we putting ourselves? If we absorb because we're so curious, what group are you hanging out with? What are you absorbing? Those things are within our realm of choice. That is the power of how we create the third unity principle. We create our reality. It's up to us. It doesn't mean that we are superseding God. It means that God is all there is, and God is in everything we do. And we're just using it as much as we can, or not. Our choice. Out of the kingdom, into the kingdom, out of the kingdom, into the kingdom. It's a journey. Sometimes we're really in the zone, and sometimes we're in the pity pot. But the point is, do we know where the heck we are? And do we know how to get out of there? That's how to live. We don't get to learn those things unless we allow ourselves to live those things. We have to live and notice when we're broken, when our heart aches, when we feel scared. And notice what inspires us. And notice who we can count on. And notice, what do we know for sure? And what is our belief really? And one of the things I loved in the beginning of Ty's book is this relationship between grandfather Ignacy and Stefan. And grandfather, without lecturing him or anything, taught him how to learn by challenging his statements. You know, it's like, well, life is awful. Like my granddaughter yesterday said, oh my gosh, this town is just, I'm so tired of this town. It's just, you know, because it's hard for a lot of us being stuck and not able to travel. And I said, well, yeah, I get that. I get that it's hard. But there's another way to look at it. We could be doing something more where we are. So grandfather Ignacy would say, tell me why you just said that. He taught this child how to think, how to know what was really true and what he was just mimicking from somebody else's news. We have to reparent ourselves most of the case because our parents didn't understand this. God bless them. They all did the best they could. We live in a different era. We have to do it. And that's why we're here in this community. That's why we gather. That's why we study. That's why we're learning to be really mindful of what matters. Putting our attention where it's going to feed us, not the daily news. The daily news will not feed you. It will separate you. Even the best of the daily news. Maybe the Christian Science Monitor is kind of the best. but it's almost impossible. And I worked in broadcast for years, so I love public media. But we need to create our own news. We need to create our own wave. This is up to us now to stand for what we believe and not complain about what isn't, but to honor what is. There is one source, one life, and it creates through us, and it's unlimited. So why would I limit it by complaining or blaming somebody for the silly things? I can't. So the title, Living Our Life on Purpose. It's easy, really. It's an alignment with the first principle. When we begin to want to understand that there's only one life, and we begin through the second principle to explore that and to see that we're created in that image, and so what does that mean for us? We're able to start thinking about, well, maybe I could, or maybe this is possible. And the journey to the fifth principle about living our life on purpose, being all that we are born to be, it has to go through the knowledge of the other principles. That journey is made up of us coming to understand that what we believe matters. What we believe about, are we worthy? Or do we have to deserve something, some accolade, some heritage, some financial? We don't need any of that, really. I mean, of course, we have to pay the rent, but it'll come naturally. It can't not come when we believe that we are made in the image and likeness of this infinite source through which all is created. All. I forget. Do you forget sometimes? We all forget. I want to read you this little tiny poem. It's called Borrow Hope. You do not have to possess your own hope in order to have hope. You do not have to rely solely and completely on your own personal resources. Hope can come on loan from others. Borrowing hope from another person doesn't deplete that hope at all. It's just as full as ever and sometimes fuller. And borrowed hope can be just as effective as hope that's generated in the moment. In short, borrowed hope works. Of course, you're not limited to borrowing. You're not limited to borrowing your hope from people around you. You can borrow it from those far away, even those who are no longer alive, people you never knew. You can gather hope from the promises of your beliefs, whether that involves a particular religious faith or a personal sense of spirituality or a sense of purpose. You can temporarily use the hope you find in songs, readings, stories, movies, and dreams. Borrow all the hope you want, wherever you want, for as long as you want. When the time is right, you can lend it too. Our journey is created by our choices. Our journey to living our life in purpose is a circuitous one. It sometimes looks like a maze. You know how mazes double back on themselves and it seems like you're back at the beginning when you're really close to the end? You know, and if we lose hope at that moment when we're back looking like we're, oh my God, I thought I had this handled. Why am I worried about this? Why is this disturbing my peace? I've done so much work about it. Right there, we're close. We're so close to breakthrough. And what we think about at that moment when it appears that all hope is gone and that we foolishly did not accomplish what we came here to be, right at that moment, It's so important what we think and say and do, and who we speak with, and how we speak, and how we see. What are we looking for? Because we will find it. If we're looking for blame, there's plenty of it. There's plenty of people making mistakes, not knowing what they're doing. I don't want to be one of them. The mistakes I make, I want to know so that I can change whatever things I've planted that allow those mistakes to happen. So here's a few little tricks of the trade here, the trade of living your life on purpose. First, you have to make space in your life where we have to let go of all of those thoughts or those patterns that don't work. And, that's a huge thing. We could spend now till forever trying to let go of things. So we don't do it by saying, all right, I'm going to let go of negative thinking, because all that does is make you focus on your negative thinking. It's like, I'm not going to eat chocolate. As soon as you say something like that, that's all you want to do. Just ask anybody who's ever dealt with anything like an addiction, even a baby one. So what the real way is know what it is you want to release, and then do something that attracts, like court the divine. Court the divine. How do we court the divine? Well, we study. What are we studying? Are we reading the New York Times? Or are we reading, Charles Fillmore? Or are we reading Deepak Chopra or Jonathan Livingston Seagull or Ty's new book or Tom's songs or anything that lifts us up? What kind of company are we keeping? I've had to let go of old friends. I've had to change relationships with family members. I've had to learn how to be kind instead of just dismissive, because those people are in my life and I can't avoid them. And why have family reunions and birthdays and graduations if you're just going to be mad? You just, you can change your decision. You can change your relationship to that person. There goes the face of God. Thank you, Mother Teresa. We can practice peace first. 3 little steps: breathe, trust life, give thanks. We have values. Unity. Santa Rosa has values. We can live those. We can practice those. Inclusiveness. Are we inclusive? Are we separating people out? There's the good ones and the bad ones. The ones we like, the ones we don't. Inspiration. What is the inspiration? Where do I find it? Do I go to the garden enough? Am I taking enough time for silence? Innovation. Am I stuck in, this is the way it is, this is how it works, this is who I am, I can't change it, this is it? Or am I looking for something new? I just created Friday is my day. And I expanded it when I created that a month ago. Yesterday, I expanded it to Friday is fun day. And I take my grandkids and do something fun and new. Something new. We went and found bobas. God knows, I never even heard the word before, but now we all are drinking these things with these funny little balls in them, and they make you laugh. And, it's a silly thing. It was innovative. Creativity. What am I creating? What do I want to create? What do I love to do that I'm not doing? Am I saying later, when the dishes are done, when the kids are grown up, or are we saying, wow, I'm a creative being. I can't help it. I'm always creating. What would I like to create? I'm painting my house. And I'm painting it in 3 colors. And it's not the kind of house designed for 3 colors. And people say, are you really sure you want that color? And I go, yeah, I am. And my grandkids come over and they painted with me all day yesterday. Well, Baba, I really like that color over there. That one's nice, but don't you like that one? I say, yeah, but not on my house. You can paint it on your house. And, then my son, God bless him, I can count on him always. And he says, hey, I've got a lot of this extra light yellow here at my house. I said, you silly goose, you know darn well I'm not a white yellow fella. I'm not going to use that paint. Come on. He said, yeah, that's pretty funny, huh? Right? Right, it is. So, it's like dance with life. It's like the little poem. It's about the tall legs that let you prance and dance. Community, here we are in service. here we are too. Service. Standing for what we believe in. The world needs this now, right now. It needs us all to live these principles so that we shine that light that Tom sang about, that says we don't need enemies, which is what peace is about. And I want to end. I just want to show you the picture. It's a circuitous route, this journey. Don't be worried about that. Listen, trust life, do your homework. Follow the guidance, practice, be a master gardener. And I want to just emphasize the importance of surrendering that which no longer serves us. Marcia Sutton created financial freedom. She's had the Church of the Living Christ. I know the living Christ is a big part of unity. Here's the prayer she taught me. Amazing Christ, giver of life, I surrender to you. I surrender my fear to you. I surrender my fear to you. I surrender my fear to you. I surrender to you. And you can sing that and put in everything that you don't want to carry around in your bag anymore. And just practice surrendering it. It works. It's beautiful. Life is fantastic, and our purpose is to say yes and walk the journey through these 5 steps, never fearing that God is there, because it always is. Thank you. So let's take a deep breath and take a moment to anchor ourselves in whatever was most meaningful today. Whatever it was that each of us needed to remember or to value more or to lean into or to ask, receive, or give. Let's take a moment of silence to remember what had most today's importance for us. And life is a treasure, every moment a gift, every thought a creative power, every action a activity of change. And anything is possible. And as Rumi said, out beyond the land of right doing and wrong doing is a field. I'll meet you there. And we meet here in that field where we judge not, where we include each other in our heart space, where we hold harmless things in our mouth, where we speak only that which furthers the purpose of our lives, to be the place where spirit shows up, to be the place where the vision can be anchored and prosper and shine. and change. We are born on purpose from the infinite for the expansion of that infinite possibility here in this garden called Earth. We are born from it, for it. We are the vessel through which it expresses. Everything we do matters. And so I claim for myself and anyone who joins me that today I remember the gift of using my moments to smile, to see the good, to amplify the good that is here, to be a place of peace, to learn to release judgment and blame and worry, and lean into instead compassion, inclusivity of the other, remembering that we are all one, no matter what it looks like. Even the ones who terrify us the most are one with us. Let us love. Let us love more. Joseph Campbell said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek." Let us love those that are in that cave that we fear to enter. Let us love there. For that is the call, to be this teaching 24/7. To the best of our ability, no judgment if it's 23/7 or 26. What matters is our intention to live the purpose that life has us here for, to duplicate the nature of the one. I commit to this, I claim it, I know that I am fully supported to be it, that all of the universe, seen and unseen, is cheering me on, is leaning in, is knowing this truth for me and each of us and everyone. It gives me such hope, it gives me courage, it gives me inspiration. It gives me joy to do what I'm called to do, knowing it is part of this grand journey that we're all on together, inspiring each other as we go. I'm grateful for this time together and everyone that was part of putting it together and all the good that we do as we take it together out into the world and shine the light without having to say a word, but through our intention and through our energy of peace. We transform the world right now. It is so. It always has been and always will be. And we let it be so right here and right now. Amen.